How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, May 4th, 2022. May the 4th be with you. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Tuesday, May 3rd. And of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Starting off with the NBA, there are still 8 teams left competing for the NBA title as we are still within the first couple games of this round. Some teams have gone through their first 2 games and are already traveling, and then the other half of the teams still have yet to play their game 2. In the NHL, there are 16 teams left competing for the Stanley Cup final, as there are teams that are still playing in their first round. Some of them played their very first games of the season, and of course, we are still going to be in this round for about another week at the least. Taking a look at what's going on with the MLB season is well underway as it is approaching the first full month of the year. Taking a look at what's going on with soccer, we are right in the middle of the second leg of the semifinal round of Champions League, and after today, we will have only 2 teams left competing for the title, as it looks as though Chelsea already isn't going to repeat. We may see another English champion. With that said, I'm going to start with the NBA, looking at what happened in the second round of the NBA playoffs. Starting off in Boston, the 2nd seed Celtics hosted the 3 seed defending champs Milwaukee Bucks out of the Eastern Conference. The Bucks came into this matchup with a 1-0 series lead after they beat the Celtics by 12 in Game 1. In Game 2, the Boston Celtics would even the series up at 1 after they beat the Milwaukee Bucks 109-86. They would win this game by 23 in front of their home crowd fans after they outscored the Bucks by 11 in the first quarter. They outscored the Bucks by 14 in the second. They were up by 25 at the half. On the losing end of this matchup, the defending champs Milwaukee Bucks were led in scoring by their elite starting power forward Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Greek Freak would finish with 28 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, and 6 turnovers in 38 minutes. He shot 11 for 27 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and 5 for 9 from the free throw line. He was accompanied by their starting point guard Drew Holiday. He had 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals in 40 minutes. Their starting center, Bobby Portis, finished with 13 points and 8 rebounds in 26 minutes. Their shooting guard off the bench, Pat Connaughton, finished with 13 points in 25 minutes. On the winning end of this matchup, the 2 seed Boston Celtics were led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Jaylen Brown, out of Atlanta. He finished with 30 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 11 for 18 from the field, 6 for 10 from 3, and he made both of his free throws. The Celtics' elite starting small forward and their only all-star this season, Jayson Tatum, finished with 29 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, and 3 steals in 43 minutes. He shot 10 for 20 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and he made 4 of his 5 free throws on the night. Their power forward off the bench, Grant Williams, finished with 21 points and 5 rebounds in 35 minutes. He shot 7 for 14 from the field, 6 for 9 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. Their starting center, Al Horford, the former back-to-back college champ, finished with 11 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 steals in 37 minutes. He shot 4 for 9 from the field and a perfect 2 for 2 from the free throw line. Their starting center, Robert Williams III, finished with 10 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks in 25 minutes. With this win, the 2nd seed Boston Celtics now even the series at 1, and now that the series is evened up at 1 with the Bucks, the next 2 games will be in Milwaukee as Game 3 is set for, it looks like Sunday. That game's going to be on ABC. And then the next matchup is going to be set for what's going to be Monday. Actually, no, I think this upcoming game is set for Saturday, and Game 4 is set for Monday. But now that the series is tied up at 1, it is a best-of-5 series as both teams have to win 3 of their next 5. And, of course, now for sure we know that we are going to have a Game 5 at this point. Taking a look at the other Game 2 that happened yesterday, the 2nd seed Memphis Grizzlies were able to even up the series with the 3 seed Golden State Warriors. After the Warriors won Game 1, they had the series lead 1-0. The Grizzlies would win their second game at home 106-101 to even the series before going to San Francisco. They won this game by 5 after they outscored the Warriors by 8 in the first quarter. And on the losing end, or I guess going into the fourth quarter, the score was tied. The Grizzlies would outscore the Warriors by 5 in the fourth quarter to win this game and create that separation. On the losing end of this matchup, the 3-seed Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their goated starting point guard, the NBA's all-time leader in three-pointers made, Stephen Curry. And of course, I would imagine in playoff three-pointers as well. Curry finished with 27 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, and 5 turnovers in 39 minutes. He shot 11 for 25 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3, and he made both of his free throws on the night. Their shooting guard off the bench, Jordan Poole, finished with 20 points and 5 assists in 34 minutes. He shot 8 for 16 from the field and made all 3 of his free throws. Their all-star starting small forward, Andrew Wiggins, finished with 16 points and 9 rebounds in 38 minutes. He shot 6 for 16 from the field, 1 for 7 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Their elite starting shooting guard, Klay Thompson, finished with 12 points and 3 steals in 41 minutes. He shot 5 for 19 from the field and 2 for 12 from 3. Their all-star power forward, Draymond Green, finished with 6 points, 10 rebounds, and 7 assists in 32 minutes. Draymond shot 3 for 5 from the field. On the winning end of this matchup, the 2-seed Memphis Grizzlies were led in scoring by their elite starting point guard out of Murray State, Ja Morant. Morant finished with 47 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, and 3 steals in 41 minutes. He shot 15 for 31 from the field, 5 for 12 from 3, and 12 for 13 from the free throw line. Their shooting guard off the bench, Zaire Williams, finished with 14 points and 5 rebounds in 28 minutes. Their starting power forward, Jaren Jackson Jr., finished with 12 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 blocks as he fouled out in 29 minutes. And then their power forward off the bench, Brandon Clark, finished with 10 points in 27 minutes. With this win, the second-seed Grizzlies have evened up this series with the Warriors at 2. Game 3 of this series is set for Saturday the 7th. That's going to be on ABC, as games 3 and 4 are going to be in San Francisco. Now that the Grizzlies have forced game 5, both teams have to win 3 of their next 5 games in order to make it to the Western Conference Finals. With that said, taking a look at what's going on today in the NBA, it will be the second round of Game 2s. The first of them is going to be in Miami tonight at 7:30 in FTX Arena, as the 1-seed in the Eastern Conference, Miami Heat, are going to host the 4-seed Philadelphia 76ers without Joel Embiid. Miami currently leads this series 1-0 after they were able to beat the Sixers by 14 in Game 1. This is the Heat's opportunity to go up 2-0 before they go to Philly. And then for Philadelphia, they have to win 4 of their next 6 games if they want to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. At 10 o'clock, immediately after that on TNT in the Footprint Center in Phoenix, the 1-seed out west in the NBA regular season champs, the Phoenix Suns, are going to host the 4-seed in the West, the Dallas Mavericks. The Suns currently lead this series 1-0 after they were able to win Game 1 in Phoenix by 7 points. So this will be a good opportunity for Dallas to either even up the series or for the Suns to get a 2-game advantage before they go off to Dallas. That's the NBA. Taking a look at what's going on in the NHL, which is also in playoffs. Yesterday was the second half of Game 1s. Starting off in the Eastern Conference in the Metropolitan Division, the 2-seed New York Rangers hosted the 3-seed Pittsburgh Penguins for Game 1. This matchup would end up going into third overtime, as the Penguins would end up scoring off of a goal from Evgeny Malkin. And this is, of course, after neither team was able to score in the third period. Malkin was the top star of this game, as he had a goal and an assist. New York's goalie Igor Shesterkin had 79 saves, but he allowed 4 through, which would be the difference. The third star of the game went to Brian Rust for the Penguins, as he had a goal and 2 assists for himself. With this win, the Pittsburgh Penguins are currently leading this series 1-0. Game 2 will be in New York. That game is set for tomorrow. It's going to be on TNT. The Rangers have to pull off a win if they want to go to Pittsburgh with at least some sort of momentum, some sort of hope. But that was a good first win from the Penguins in triple overtime. And the second win of this matchup would see the Florida Panthers face off against the Washington Capitals. And in this matchup, the Capitals, who came into this particular matchup as the wild card seed, they were the second wild card seed, and the Florida Panthers came into this matchup as the top seed in the Athletic in the Atlantic Division. The Capitals would beat the Florida Panthers in Game 1. They would go on to win this game 4-2. And it looks as though the difference would be the third period, as the Panthers were leading 2-1 going into the third period. And the Capitals would go on to see a hat trick from their team, of course, as their tying goal come from Evgeny Kuznetsov. TJ Oshie would put them ahead, and then Lars Eller would put the cherry on top. With this win, Washington now holds a 1-0 series lead, as Florida should host the Capitals for Game 2. It'll be tomorrow on TBS. With a win in Game 2, the Panthers can even up the series, and with a win in Game 2, the Capitals can get a 2-game advantage before they go home. So that's the win from the Capitals makes this an interesting series, and not to mention the winner of this series will go on to face off against the winner between the Maple Leafs and the Lightning. Taking a look at the third Game 1 that happened yesterday in Denver, the Colorado Avalanche would host the Nashville Predators. After the Avalanche hung up 7 goals after they hung up 5 goals in the first period, it would be a pretty even 2-2 after that, as the Avalanche won this game 7-2. Their first star of the game was Nathan MacKinnon, as he had 2 goals and an assist. Their second goal was their defender Cale Makar, as he had a goal and 2 assists. Their right winger Mikko Rantanen was their third star, as he had 3 assists. With this win, the Colorado Avalanche, who come into this matchup as the number 1 seed, as they are coming out of the Central Division, they are now holding a 1-0 series lead, as they will host the Predators for Game 2 tomorrow on TNT. I imagine the Predators have to win this game if they want to go back to Nashville with an even series, if they want to carry that momentum. So that was the third game of that series, as the winner of this matchup is set to play against the winner between the Wild and the St. Louis Blues. And the last game of the night would see the Calgary Flames, the number 1 seed from the Pacific Division, host the Dallas Stars, who came into this matchup as the top wildcard seed. Game 1 would see the Calgary Flames beat the Stars 1-0, as Calgary's lone goal in this particular matchup would come in the very first period. It will come from Elias Lindholm. Their first star was their goalie, Jacob Markstrom, who, of course, went perfect, who had all 16 saves. Elias Lindholm would have the only goal of the game, so he was the second star. And Jake Odegaard, the goalie for the Dallas Stars, would finish with the third star of the game, as he had 25 saves, only allowing 1 shot through. With this win, Calgary holds a 1-0 series lead, as with another win, they can have a little bit of momentum as they go to Dallas. I feel like if I was Dallas, I feel like Game 2 would be a must-win. Game 2 between these two teams is set for tomorrow on TBS. So with that said, now every single Game 1 has been played. Every single hockey team in the playoffs has played their playoff game, at least their first one, to at least get themselves a feel for what's coming up ahead. Taking a look at what's going on today, the very first matchup is going to see the Carolina Hurricanes host the Boston Bruins. Carolina Hurricanes are the number 1 seed in the Metropolitan Division, and the Bruins, of course, come into this matchup as the number 1 wildcard seed. The Hurricanes are currently leading this series 1-0 versus the Bruins after they won Game 1 5-1, and then, like I said, a second win can give the Hurricanes advantage. As for the Bruins, it would even up the series. At 7:30 on ESPN2, the Toronto Maple Leafs, who come into this matchup as the 2 seed in the Atlantic Division, are going to host the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are going to come into this matchup as the 3rd seed within that division. Taking a look at how Game 1 fared, the Toronto Maple Leafs were able to win that game 5-0, so they do hold a 1-0 series advantage. Taking a look at the third game that is going to be taking place today, the Minnesota Wild, who come into this matchup with the second best record in the Central Division, are set to host the St. Louis Blues, who have the 3rd best record in the Central. The St. Louis Blues are currently leading the series 1-0 after they were able to beat the Wild 4-0 in Game 1. Last but not least, the last Game 2 of the day will see the Edmonton Oilers, the second best team in the Pacific, host the Los Angeles Kings, the 3rd best team in the Pacific. The Kings are currently leading this series 1-0 after they were able to pull off an overtime win, winning it 4-3. I imagine that they would want to pull off a win before they go back to LA. But that is what the NHL playoffs are looking like as of right now, as we are still very early in the first round. Taking a look at what's going on in the MLB now, the only doubleheader took place in Queens as the New York Mets hosted the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves. They would beat the Braves in both of these games. In Game 1, they would win 5-4, scoring all 5 of their runs in the first in the first 4 innings of this matchup. On the losing end of Game 1, the Braves were led out by their starting pitcher, Charlie Morton, who picked up his 3rd loss of the year. Morton would allow 5 runs off of 6 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 3. With this loss, Charlie Morton is 1-3. In the Braves batting lineup, nobody on their team finished with more than 1 hit. Their first baseman, Matt Olson, went 1-for-2 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 3rd home run of the season. On the winning end of Game 1, the win went to the Mets starting pitcher, David Peterson. He allowed 3 earned runs, 4 runs total off of 4 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and walk 3, and with this win, Peterson is 1-0. The save went to the Mets closer, Edwin Diaz, as he allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning, striking out 2. This would be his 5th save of the year. In the Mets batting lineup, their center fielder, Travis Jankowski, would end up going 2-for-3 with 3 runs. Their elite first baseman, Pete Alonso, went 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs. And this would carry over into their second matchup where they would beat the Braves 3-0, shutting them out, scoring 2 runs in the first inning of this game. On the losing end of this matchup, the defending champs would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Kyle Wright. Kyle Wright would pick up his first loss of the season as he allowed 3 earned runs off of 9 hits in 7 innings. He struck out 3 batters and walked 1. With this loss, he's now 3-1. In the Braves batting lineup, their first baseman, Matt Olson, went 2-for-4. Their elite second baseman, Ozzie Albies, went 2-for-4 as well. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown New York Mets saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Carlos Carrasco. He allowed no earned runs off of 6 hits in the 8 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 2. With this win, he's now 2-1, and the save would go to their closer, Seth Lugo. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning, and with this save, this is his 2nd of the year. In the Mets batting lineup, their second baseman, Jeff McNeil, went 2-for-4 with a run. Their elite designated hitter, Pete Alonso, went 2-for-4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 5th home run of the season. And their catcher, James McCann, went 2-for-3. With this win, the New York Mets are 18-8. That is the best record in the National League East and the best record in the National League win percentage-wise. The only team with a better record than them in the major leagues are the New York Yankees at this point. They've won their last 2 games. Of course, their winning streak is just from yesterday. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They sit 4.5 games ahead of the second-place Miami Marlins in their division. With these 2 losses, the Atlanta Braves are 11-15. They've lost their last 2. They've lost 6 of their last 10. They are now sitting 7 games behind the division-leading New York Mets at this moment. Jumping out to Miami, the Marlins hosted the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Diamondbacks would beat the Marlins 5-4, scoring all 5 of their runs before the Marlins would score all 4 of their runs in the 7th inning. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Marlins would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Trevor Rogers. Rogers allowed 5 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 4.1 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 2. With this loss, Rogers is 1-4. In the Marlins batting lineup, their second baseman, Jazz Chisholm, went 2-for-5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their designated hitter, Jesus Aguilar, will go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs. On the winning end of this matchup, the Arizona Diamondbacks will see the win go to their starting pitcher, Humberto Castellanos. Castellanos allowed no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked none. With this win, he's now 2-1. The save for the Diamondbacks would go to their closer, Joe Mantiply. Mantiply allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he would pick up his 2nd save of the year. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their left fielder in this matchup, Cooper Hummel, will go 2-for-5 with a run. Their first baseman, Christian Walker, went 2-for-5 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 6th home run of the season. And then their third baseman, Sergio Alcantara, would end up going 2-for-4. With this win, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 12-13. That is the worst record in the National League West at this moment. They've won their last 2 games and they've won 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 4.5 games behind the division leading Los Angeles Dodgers. With this loss, the Miami Marlins are 12-11. That is the second best record in the National League East, as they've now lost their last 3 games. Their 3-game losing streak is the second longest active losing streak in the National League, as they've lost 3 of their last 10. They are sitting 4.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Phillies hosted the Texas Rangers. The Rangers would end up beating the Phillies 6-4. After the Phillies would take a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the first, the Rangers would take the lead off. They would tie the game off of a Jonah Heim home run in the top of the fourth. And then in the sixth, they would see a 2-run double from Zach Reeks give them the lead, and they would run away with this lead, essentially. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Philadelphia Phillies would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Ranger Suarez. Suarez allowed 5 runs off of 6 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 2. With this loss, Suarez is 2-1. And in the Phillies batting lineup, their catcher, JT Realmuto, went 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his second home run of the season. Their shortstop, Didi Gregorius, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. And then their right fielder, Matt Vierling, would end up going 2 for 3. On the winning end of this matchup, the Texas Rangers we see the start go to John Gray. Gray would allow 3 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 3 innings that he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 1. The win went to the Rangers' first relief pitcher within this matchup. The win specifically would end up going to Brock Burke. Burke would allow no earned runs off of 3 hits. He pitched the 4th and 5th innings, getting pulled in the 6th. He would allow 3 hits in that span as he struck out a batter. With this win, Burke is 3-0. The save for the Rangers in this game would end up going to Joe Barlow. Barlow would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This would be his second save of the year. In the Rangers batting lineup, their elite second baseman Marcus Semien went 2 for 5 with an RBI. Their catcher Jonah Heim would end up going 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his 3rd home run of the season. On the winning end of this, or I guess that's where they are. They are on the winning end of this matchup. With this win, the Texas Rangers are 9-14. That is the worst record in the American League West, as they have now won their last 3 games, and they've won 5 of their last 10. They are sitting 5 games behind the division-leading Los Angeles Angels at this moment. With this loss, the Philadelphia Phillies are 11-13. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East. They've lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They are sitting 6 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in Baltimore, the Orioles hosted the Minnesota Twins. Twins, one of the hottest teams in baseball, were able to beat the Orioles 7-2. The score was tied at 2 going into the 6th as the Twins would break the tie with a 3-run home run from Ryan Jeffers. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Baltimore Orioles would be led out by their starting pitcher, Bruce Zimmerman. Bruce Zimmerman would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 2. The loss went to the Orioles' first relief pitcher, Joey Krehbiel. He allowed 3 earned runs off of 2 hits in the 6th inning as he walked a batter. With this loss, he's now 1-3. In the Orioles batting lineup, their designated hitter, Trey Mancini, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their left fielder, Austin Hayes, went 2 for 4 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the Minnesota Twins were led out by their starting pitcher, Joe Ryan. Ryan allowed 2 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 1. The win went to the Minnesota Twins' first relief pitcher, Caleb Thielbar. He allowed no earned runs in 1.2 innings pitches. He struck out 2. With his win, he's 1-0. In the Twins batting lineup, their center fielder, Byron Buxton, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their elite shortstop, Carlos Correa, would go 2 for 5. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are 15-9. That is the best record in the American League Central. It is the 2nd best record in the American League. Only the Yankees have a better record than them in the American League as a whole. They've now won their last 4 games. Their 4-game winning streak is the second longest active winning streak in the American League. They've won 9 of their last 10. They now sit 4 games ahead of the Cleveland Guardians, as only the Yankees have a longer winning streak than the Minnesota Twins right now. With this loss, the Baltimore Orioles are 8-16. That is the worst record in the American League East. They've now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 7 of their last 10. They have one more win and 2 more losses than the Tigers, but their 16 losses are the most losses in the American League as of right now. They are tied with the Nationals for the second most amount of losses in all of baseball. Only the Reds have more losses than the Orioles right now. Taking a look at what happened in Toronto, the Blue Jays hosted the hottest team in baseball as the New York Yankees winning streak stretches past 10. After the Blue Jays scored the first run of the game in the 5th inning, the Yankees would tie it off of a solo home run from Aaron Judge in the top of the 6th. They would go on to score 6 runs in the 7th inning to go up by 6, and they would go on to win this game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Toronto Blue Jays were led out by their starting pitcher Alek Manoah. Manoah allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the 6 innings he pitched as he struck out 7 and walked 1. The loss would go to the Blue Jays' first relief pitcher, Adam Cimber. Cimber allowed 3 runs off of 2 hits as he would not make it through the 6th inning as he struck out a batter. With this loss, he's 4-1. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their elite shortstop, Bo Bichette, went 2 for 4 with an RBI. Their elite first baseman, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., went 2 for 4. Their catcher, Alejandro Kirk, would end up going 2 for 4 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the New York Yankees were led out by their starting pitcher, Jayson Tatum. He allowed 1 earned run off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, he's now 2-1. In the Yankees batting lineup, their center fielder, Aaron Hicks, went 2 for 3 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their elite right fielder, Aaron Judge, went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 9th home run of the season. Their elite designated hitter, Giancarlo Stanton, went 1 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 5th home run of the year. And then the Yankees left fielder in this matchup, Marwin Gonzalez, would end up going 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. With this win, the New York Yankees are 18-6. That is the best record in all of baseball and, of course, the best record in their division. They've now won their last 11 games. They are now sitting 3.5 games ahead of the second-place Toronto Blue Jays in their division. Right now, they're the only team that has won at least 70% of their games in the MLB so far. With this loss, the Toronto Blue Jays are 15-10. They are now holding on to the second best record in the American League East. They are tied with the Angels for the 3rd best record in the American League. They've now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 5 of their last 10. They are sitting 3.5 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees. Taking a look at what happened in Boston, staying in the AL East, the Red Sox hosted the Angels. Then they shut the Angels out, only holding them to 3 hits all game. On the losing end of this matchup, the Angels will see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Noah Syndergaard. Syndergaard allowed 3 earned runs off of 8 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 1, as with this loss, Syndergaard is 2-1. No one in the Angels batting lineup would finish with more than 1 hit, as that was attributed to great pitching from the Red Sox. The win for the Red Sox went to their starting pitcher, Michael Wacha. Wacha allowed no earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 2, and with this win, Wacha is 3-0. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their elite designated hitter, JD Martinez, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 3rd home run of the season. Their elite third baseman, Rafael Devers, went 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run as he went on to hit his 4th home run of the season. Their first baseman, Franchi Cordero, would end up going 2 for 3 with a run. And then their right fielder, Jackie Bradley Jr., went 2 for 3. With this win, the Boston Red Sox are 10-14. That is the 4th best record in the American League East. They've won 3 of their last 10 games. They've won 3 of their last 10 games as they now sit 8 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees. With this loss, the Los Angeles Angels are 15-10. That is still the best record in the AL West. They are tied with the Toronto Blue Jays for the 3rd best record in the American League. They are currently sitting 1.5 games ahead of the second-place Houston Astros within the American League West at this point. Taking a look at what happened in Chicago in this all-Chicago matchup, the White Sox would end up going to Wrigley, and they would end up beating the Cubs 3-1 after scoring the first 3 runs of the game in the first 3 innings. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Chicago Cubs would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Scott Efros. Efros would allow 2 runs off of 2 hits in the 1.1 inning he pitched. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Cubs batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than one hit. That'll be attributed to great pitching from the White Sox. And on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Chicago White Sox would see the start go to Michael Kopech. Kopech allowed no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 4 innings he pitched as he struck out 5 and walked 2. The win would go to the White Sox first relief pitcher Reynaldo Lopez. Lopez allowed no earned runs in the 5th inning as he struck out a batter. With this win, he's now 3-0. The save would go to the White Sox elite closer Liam Hendriks. Hendriks allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This would be his 6th save of the year. In the White Sox batting lineup, their third baseman Jake Burger went 2-for-4 with an RBI. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are now 10-13. That is the 3rd best record in the American League Central. They've won their last 2 games, and they've won 4 of their last 10. They are currently sitting 4.5 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are 9-14. That is the 4th best record in the National League Central. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They are currently sitting 6.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Speaking of the Milwaukee Brewers, they hosted the league's worst team, the Cincinnati Reds. The Brewers would end up beating the Reds 6-3. After the Reds would bring it to within a run in the top of the 4th, the Brewers would create separation with an RBI single from Luis Urias and a sac fly from Colton Wong. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cincinnati Reds would see the loss go to their starting pitcher Tyler Mahle. Mahle allowed 5 runs off of 4 hits in the 3.1 innings he pitched. He struck out 2 batters and walked 3. With this loss, Mahle is 1-4. In the Reds batting lineup, their left fielder Tommy Pham went 3-for-4 with an RBI and 2 runs as he hit his 4th home run of the season. Their third baseman Mike Moustakas would go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 1st home run of the year. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Milwaukee Brewers were led out by their starting pitcher Brandon Woodruff. Woodruff picked up his 3rd win of the year as he allowed 3 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 12 batters. The save would go to the Brewers' closer, Devin Williams. Williams allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. This would be his 2nd save of the year. In the Brewers' batting lineup, their second baseman, Colton Wong, ended up going 2-for-2 with an RBI and a run. He was the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the Milwaukee Brewers are 16-8. That is the best record in the National League Central. They've won 8 of their last 10 games as they now sit 2.5 games ahead of the 2nd place St. Louis Cardinals in their division. With this loss, the Cincinnati Reds are now 3-20. That 20 losses is the most losses that any team has in the MLB. They have the worst record in the NL Central, the National League, and the majors. They've lost their last 7 games. They've lost 9 of their last 10. They are currently sitting 12.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. At the moment, they are 1-16 against teams that are over 500, including the Brewers. Taking a look at what happened in Houston, the reigning American League champs, the Houston Astros, hosted the Seattle Mariners. The Astros would shut the Mariners out, winning it 4-0, scoring their first run in the 4th inning off of a solo home run from Yordan Alvarez. And they would see it closed off with a solo home run from Jose Altuve. On the losing end of this matchup, the Seattle Mariners would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Chris Flexen. Flexen allowed 1 earned run off of 2 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 2 batters and walked 3. With this loss, Chris Flexen is 1-4. In the Mariners batting lineup, their first baseman Ty France went 2-for-4. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Houston Astros would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Christian Javier. He allowed no earned runs off of 2 hits in the 5.1 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 2. With this win, he's now 2-0. In the Astros batting lineup, their shortstop in this matchup, Jeremy Pena, would go 2-for-4 with 2 RBIs as he was the only player with more than 1 hit. Their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, went 1-for-3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 2nd home run of the year. With this win, the Houston Astros are now 13-11. That is currently the 2nd best record in the American League West. They've won their last 2 games and they've won 7 of their last 10. They are sitting 1.5 games behind the division-leading Los Angeles Angels. With this loss, the Seattle Mariners are 12-12. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West, as they've now lost their last 2 games. They've lost 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 2.5 games behind the division-leading LA Angels. Taking a look at what happened in Kansas City in the Missouri Showdown, the Royals would host the St. Louis Cardinals. The Royals would end up beating the Cardinals 7-1, scoring all 7 of their runs before the Cardinals scored their lone run in the top of the 8th. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cardinals would be led out by their starting pitcher, Dakota Hudson. Dakota Hudson would go on to pick up his second loss of the year as he allowed 3 earned runs off 9 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 2. With this loss, Dakota Hudson is 2-2. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their second baseman, Tommy Edman, went 2 for 4 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Kansas City Royals saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Brad Keller. Brad Keller allowed no earned runs off of the 4 hits he allowed. He would pitch 6.1 innings as he struck out 2 batters and walked 3. With this win, Brad Keller is 1-2. In the Royals batting lineup, their right fielder Edward Olivares would go 4 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their left fielder Andrew Benintendi went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their rookie third baseman Bobby Witt Jr. went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his first career home run for the Royals. And then their center fielder Michael Taylor would go 2 for 4 with an RBI. With this win, the Kansas City Royals are now 8-14. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central as they have now won 3 of their last 10 games. They are now sitting 6 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins in their division. With this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals are 13-10. That is the 2nd best record in the National League Central. They've now lost 6 of their last 10 games. They sit 2.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Taking a look now at what happened in Colorado, the Rockies hosted the Washington Nationals. The Nationals would end up beating the Rockies 10-2. They would end up scoring the first 3 runs of the game. They would end up scoring 9 of their 10 runs from the 3rd through the 7th inning, as it was pretty much an offensive clinic within that window. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Colorado Rockies would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, German Marquez. Marquez would allow 7 earned runs off of 10 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 2. With this loss, Marquez is 0-2 on the year. In the Rockies batting lineup, their first baseman C.J. Cron went 3 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 9th home run of the year. On the winning end of this matchup, the Washington Nationals saw the win go to their starting pitcher Eric Fedde. Fedde would go on to allow 1 earned run off of the 6 hits he allowed in 7 innings. He struck out 3 batters and walked 2. With this win, he's now 2-2. In the Nationals batting lineup, their first baseman Josh Bell ended up going 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. He hit his 3rd home run of the season. The Nats elite right fielder Juan Soto went 1 for 5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 5th home run of the year. Their left fielder Yadiel Hernandez went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their third baseman Michael Franco went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their catcher Keibert Ruiz went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. And their shortstop Alcides Escobar went 2 for 4 with a run. With this win, the Washington Nationals are now 9-16. That is the worst record in the National League East. That is the 2nd worst record in the National League, as only the Cincinnati Reds have a worse record than the Nats in the National League. The Nationals have won their last 2 games. They've won 3 of their last 10. They are sitting 8.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets at the moment. With this loss, the Colorado Rockies are 13-10. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games. They are trailing the division-leading Los Angeles Dodgers by 2.5 games. Taking a look at what happened in the Bay Area, the Oakland Athletics hosted the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays would end up beating the Athletics 10-7, as this game would go on into extra innings after the A's would end up putting themselves up by a wide margin. The Tampa Bay Rays would end up scoring 5 runs in the top of the 10th inning after the A's scored all 5 of their runs in the bottom of the 1st. It was a wild game, but in extra innings, the Rays would outscore the A's 5-2 in that 10th inning, which would be the difference and gave them their 14th win. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Oakland Athletics saw the start go to Paul Blackburn. Paul Blackburn would allow 3 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 4.1 innings he pitched. He struck out 5 batters and walked 1 as he was pulled in the 5th inning. The loss would go to the Oakland Athletics setup relief pitcher Lou Trevino. Trevino allowed 5 runs off of 4 hits as he would get pulled in the 10th inning. With this loss, he's now 0-2. In the A's batting lineup, their left fielder Chad Pinder went 2 for 4. Their second baseman in this matchup, Sheldon Noose, will go 3 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their catcher Sean Murphy went 2 for 5 with an RBI as well. And then their third baseman in this matchup, Kelvin Smith, would go on to hit a grand slam. His grand slam was his first home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the Tampa Bay Rays would be led out by their starting pitcher, Ryan Yarbrough. Ryan Yarbrough allowed 5 earned runs and 6 hits as he struck out 2 batters and walked 3. He would get pulled in the 3rd inning. The win would go to the Rays setup relief pitcher who pitched the entire 9th inning, Andrew Kittredge. Andrew Kittredge would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. With this win, he's now 2-0. In the Rays batting lineup, their first baseman Yandy Diaz went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their designated hitter Manuel Margot went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their pinch hitting catcher Mike Zunino went 2 for 2 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his second home run of the year. Their third baseman Taylor Walls would go 2 for 5 for himself. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are 14-10. That is the 3rd best record in the American League East, as they've now won their last 2 games and they've won 7 of their last 10. They are sitting 4 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees at the moment. And with this loss, the Oakland Athletics are 10-14. That is the 4th best record in the American League West. They've now lost their last 5 games. The Oakland Athletics are holding on to the longest active losing streak in the American League. Only the Cincinnati Reds have a longer active losing streak than the Athletics right now. The Athletics have lost 8 of their last 10 games. They are now sitting 4.5 games behind the division-leading Los Angeles Angels. Last but not least, taking a look at what happened in Dodger Stadium, the LA Dodgers hosted their longtime rival, the San Francisco Giants. The Dodgers would end up beating the Giants 3-1 after scoring 2 runs in the bottom of the second off of a 2-run single from Chris Taylor. On the losing end of this matchup, the San Francisco Giants would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Carlos Rodon. Rodon allowed 2 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 6 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 2. With this loss, he's now 3-1. In the Giants batting lineup, their right fielder in this particular matchup, Austin Slater, would end up going 2 for 3. Their second baseman, Thairo Estrada, would end up going 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown LA Dodgers see the win go to their starting pitcher, Julio Urias. He would allow no earned runs off of 4 hits in the 6 innings he pitched as he struck out 4. With this win, he's now 2-1. The save would go to the Dodgers' elite closer, Craig Kimbrell. Craig Kimbrell allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning. He would allow 1 hit as well as he struck out a batter and walked 1. With this save, this is now Kimbrell's 5th save of the year. In the Dodgers batting lineup, their left fielder Chris Taylor went 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs. With this win, the LA Dodgers are now 15-7. That is the best record in the National League West. Win percentage-wise, it is the 2nd best record in the National League, as only the Mets have a better record than them in the National League. The Dodgers have now won their last 2 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. And then, of course, if you add in the Yankees, the Dodgers have the 3rd best record in all of baseball. They sit half a game ahead of the 2nd place San Diego Padres in their division. And with this loss, the San Francisco Giants are 14-9. That is the 3rd best record in the National League West. They've now lost their last 2 games. They've lost 4 of their last 10. They are currently sitting a game and a half behind the division-leading LA Dodgers. So that is what the MLB is looking like following yesterday's matchups. Taking a look at what's going on today. We are in the middle of the week. It is Wednesday, and we are still in the midst of all these series. There are double headers that are going to be going on, as the first of the double headers is going to be in Detroit, as Michael Pineda and the Detroit Tigers host Dylan Peters and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Game 2 of this matchup will see Alex Fado of the Tigers host Jose Quintana of the Pirates. The second doubleheader will be in Cleveland, as the Cleveland Guardians are going to host the San Diego Padres. In Game 1, Zach Plesac will make the start for Cleveland, and Mike Clevenger is going to make the start for San Diego. In Game 2, Cal Quantrill is going to make the start for Cleveland, who was a former San Diego Padres pitcher. Mackenzie Gore is going to make the start for the Padres. So that'll be a very interesting matchup there. And considering there's no primetime matchups, looking outside of the double headers at 12:40, Elise Hernandez and the Miami Marlins are going to host Madison Bumgarner and the Arizona Diamondbacks. At 1:10, Tyler McGill in the NL East leading New York Mets are going to host Ian Anderson and the defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves. At 1:10 in Kansas City, Chris Bubich and the Royals are going to host Adam Wainwright and the Cardinals. At 2:10 at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Justin Verlander, the goated starting pitcher for the Houston Astros, is going to host Matt Brash and the Seattle Mariners. Verlander enters this matchup with a 2-1 record, holding a 1.73 ERA. At 3:37, Frankie Montas and the Oakland Athletics are going to host Corey Kluber and the Tampa Bay Rays. At 4:40, or at 6:45, Zach Wheeler and the Philadelphia Phillies are going to host Martin Perez and the Texas Rangers. At 7:05, Kyle Bradish and the Baltimore Orioles are going to host Dylan Bundy and the Minnesota Twins. At 7:07, Yusei Kikuchi and the Toronto Blue Jays are going to host the hottest team in baseball, the New York Yankees, led by Nestor Cortez. The Yankees are on an 11-game winning streak. At 7:10, Garrett Whitlock and the Boston Red Sox are going to host Reed Detmers in the AL West leading Los Angeles Angels. At 7:40, we're going to see the Chicago Derby as Kyle Hendricks and the Chicago Cubs are going to host Lucas Giolito and the Chicago White Sox. At 7:40, in American Family Field in Milwaukee, Freddie Peralta and the Milwaukee Brewers are going to host Vladimir Gutierrez in the coldest team in baseball, the Cincinnati Reds, who already have 20 losses in 23 games. At 8:40 in Coors Field, Austin Gomber and the Colorado Rockies are going to host Patrick Corbin and the Washington Nationals. And last but not least, the LA Dodgers are going to host Alex Wood and the San Francisco Giants. That's what I have for you today with the MLB. Last but not least, jumping out to what's going on overseas. Yesterday was the first second leg matchup of the Champions League semifinal, and Liverpool was the first team to advance to the Champions League final after Liverpool had gone on to go undefeated in their group stage matchups. After they went on to the round of 16 and beat Inter 2-1 on aggregates. After the quarterfinal leg where they beat Benfica 6-4 on aggregates, they would go on to beat Villarreal 3-2 yesterday, so they can beat Villarreal 5-2 on aggregates. And right now, Liverpool is the only team that has advanced to the Champions League final as of right now. Villarreal were able to score both their goals in the first half to even this aggregate at 2. Their goals coming from Boulaye Dia and Francis Coquelin in the 41st minute. In the second half, Liverpool would take the lead on the aggregates in the 62nd minute from their Brazilian midfielder Fabinho. Their second goal would come from their newest Colombian addition in the front, Luis Diaz. And then their third goal will come from their elite Senegalese forward Sadio Mane. And with his goal in the 74th minute, Liverpool will advance to the Champions League final, where they will face off against either Real Madrid, which would make it a Champions League final rematch, or if they face off against Man City, it would make it an all-English final. But right now, all that is for certain is that Liverpool has made it through. Taking a look at what's going on in the Champions League today, the only matchup that's going on today, we'll see Real Madrid host Man City, as Manchester City currently leads 4-3 on aggregates. I'm looking at how the first game between these two teams shaped out. Manchester City scored the first 2 goals of the game from Kevin De Bruyne, their elite Belgian midfielder, and Gabriel Jesus, their Brazilian striker. Real Madrid's first goal came from Karim Benzema, their elite French forward, to shorten their deficit. Man City would score their third goal from Phil Foden to put them up 3-1. Vinny Jr. would score 2 minutes later to make it 3-2. Man City would put themselves up 4-2 with a goal from Bernardo Silva, but Benzema would put them down 1. As with this goal, the Real Madrid now trails by 1 going home. Man City does hold the advantage, but it'll be a very interesting matchup to see, as even with a draw, Man City should advance, which means Real Madrid has to win, or they have to win this game by at least 1 if they want to stay alive in Champions League contention. The winner of this matchup will face off against Liverpool on May 28th in the Champions League final. So that is what's going on with all of the sports that I have for you today. I want to thank the ESPN, the NBA, NHL, MLB, and FIFA sites for giving me all the facts and figures that I need as we navigate through this world of sports one day at a time. And with that said, once everything is done today, I'm going to come back tomorrow on Thursday, May 5th. I want to thank everyone for listening to all 50 minutes of this piece. I do hope all is well. And I will catch you with more tomorrow as we navigate through this world of sports. Thanks for listening to this piece. I hope all is well, and peace out. I'll catch you tomorrow.